For every single year of the Euros, the tournament has been held exclusively in one and sometimes two countries. This year's tournament will take place across 11 host cities, and it's a year or a year and a bit where international travel has literally been made illegal in some of these places that, the Euros is going to be split across the whole continent. UEFA thought it's still a good idea to push forward with the Euros being spread across numerous countries. Why couldn't we have just had it in the UK? I don't know, but yeah, it still should be a great spectacle of football. Out of the entire 60-year history of the Euros, you could not have picked a worse time to have the tournament split across multiple countries, but here we are. Let's hope it can be done as best and as safely as possible. Anyway, whether you agree or not with it being in numerous countries, I'm going to be running you through the 11 host cities and the 11 host stadiums in this video. Before we get into it, please do remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. There is so much more Euros content coming up. I've got my England shirt on and I'm so buzzing that tournament football is almost here. You can probably see my red face. I've been out in the sun the past few days. The club videos are going to stop for a while, and this video is to start off a run of Euros content across the course of the next month or so. I hope you enjoy all the Euros content coming your way. Please subscribe. So in alphabetical order, first up, the host city that I'm going to be taking you through is Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands, and the stadium that will be used is the Johan Cruyff Arena. Amsterdam has a population of around 800,000. The capacity of the Johan Cruyff Arena is just shy of 55,000, with at least 25% capacity due to watch the games in the stadium, and that is also subject to increase. This is one of 4 stadiums on the list of 11 that I've been to before, and one of 3 that I've been to for my channel, so there should be some images on screen just now of this amazing stadium. For the tournament, the Johan Cruyff Arena will host games in Group C, which is the Netherlands group, along with Austria, Macedonia or North Macedonia and Ukraine. It will also host the last 16 game as well. This place has a retractable roof. It hosted 5 Euros matches back in Euro 2000, and it even staged the 1998 Champions League final. Next up, the host city of Baku in Azerbaijan, somewhere that has been on my travel bucket list for a long time, and I would love to go there one day to make some videos. Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, which is of course a former Soviet state, is further east than Iraq, Syria, and almost all of mainland Africa. Yeah, the former Soviet state is now a part of the UEFA football fraternity. The population of the city is around 2 million, and the stadium can hold up to 68,000 people. There will be a capacity of around 50% of fans, so every stadium has a different amount of capacity based on the rules with, the ongoing global situation in terms of what the country's rules are at the time. And yes, a 50% capacity will be held in the Baku Stadium, which is also home, of course, to the Azerbaijan national team and Qarabag FK. I believe they played Chelsea in the Champions League a few years ago, and they're one of the most successful teams in Azerbaijan. For the Euros then, it's going to be used for Group A, which is Wales's group, as well as Italy, Switzerland and Turkey. It will also host a quarter-final match as well. What else has this stadium been used for? Well, it was the location for Chelsea's 2019 Europa League win against Arsenal. The third host city on the list, and the second out of 3 starting with B, is Bucharest in Romania. The arena Nationala is inside the city of Bucharest, which is home to about 1.8 million people. You can fit about 55,000 people in this epic looking stadium, but there will only be 25% capacity, again subject to increase. The stadium is used for the Romanian national team, and also is home to European Cup winners from 1986 Steaua Bucharest. It hosted the all-Spanish 2012 Europa League final between Bilbao and Atletico Madrid. For the Euros, it will be used for Group C along with Amsterdam's Ajax Arena, and it will also be used for one last 16 game. And the third city starting with B, Budapest, the last city that I was in when I had to make a quick escape out of Europe and back to the UK when I was travelling just before all the lockdown restrictions came into play. I was in Budapest and I did actually explore the Puskas Arena. It was shut, but there should be some images on screen just now of the vlog I made. I ran around the city, and one of the stops I went to was the Puskas Arena in Budapest. Yeah, it's an amazing looking city, Budapest, and it is home to 1.7 million people. And yes, even some of the photos I took there, it is such a photogenic place. And if you've never been to Budapest before, I would highly recommend it. Go down there, eat some goulash, and have the time of your life. 68,000 or so people can fit inside the Pushkas Arena, and it will be at maximum capacity for the Euros. Yes, the stadium that has been the saviour of the Champions League in the last year or so. Liverpool have played their home and away in a neutral venue. That doesn't really make sense, but you know what I mean. It's used for the Hungarian national team and is named after their most famous export. It is, of course, Ferenc Pushkas. You do have to feel for Hungary, although there are going to be maximum capacity crowds for Hungarian games. They are in the group of death, along with Portugal, France, and Germany, and that is the group rather that is going to be played within the Pushkas arena. It will also be used for a last 16 game, and yeah, like I say, it's the saviour of Europe, isn't it? Somehow, Hungary haven't had as tough restrictions as we've seen around Europe, and there's going to be 100% capacity there for the Euros, and it's been used for other big events in football over the past year or so when other stadiums weren't allowed even, I don't think, any travelling teams or anything like that. So yeah, Budapest, big up, what a city, what a stadium, should be a great location for the Euros. The smallest stadium out of the ones used for the Euros, out of all 11, will be in Copenhagen. The population of Copenhagen is around 600k, and inside the Parken Stadium you could in normal times fit 38,000 people. For the Euros though, there will be about a 25 to 33% capacity, which is subject to increase. The stadium itself is usually used for Denmark's national team and FC Copenhagen. It will be used for Group B games, which has a Scandinavian derby in it. Denmark, of course, one of the home nations, will play Finland at that stadium. Should be an epic occasion. And also in that group are Belgium and Russia. It will also be used for a last 16 game, and like I say, it is the smallest stadium used for the Euros, but size aside, it is the only stadium out of the 11 to have a Michelin star restaurant inside it. Next up, somewhere I've become very familiar with over the past year or so, Glasgow's Hampden Park. Glasgow, depending on what source you look at and how big you determine the area to be, has a population of around 600,000, but Hampden Park is one of the most famous stadiums in the world, and for centuries and decades gone by, it was at the forefront of stadium design. Nowadays, it's not seen as one of the biggest or the best stadiums in the world, but until 1950, when the Maracanã was built in Rio, it was the biggest stadium in the world. It has a capacity of around 52,000 people, but there will only be about a quarter of that filled for the Euros. I've made so many videos about what it's used for and the history of Hampden Park before. There's been 3 Hampden Parks, there's now Hampden Park, which is abandoned. I don't want to bore you all with that. If you want to look at it, I've made numerous videos on Hampden Park. If you search Hampden Park and Footy Adventures, there will be probably like 4 or 5 videos that come up if you want to go more in depth about the stadium. But basically, it has been used by Queen's Park, Glasgow Bayside Queen's Park, for the majority of its time. They've just recently moved out, but it is also Scotland's national stadium. It will host Group D games. That is the home nations group where England and Scotland are going to be in. Obviously Wales have got their own group, but yeah, England and Scotland games, Group D, that is what will be used for Hamden, and also one last 16 game as well. Hampden Park has hosted the highest ever attended European Cup final of all time. 1960, Real Madrid 7, Frankfurt 3. Not only was it the most attended in terms of the attendance, I think around 120,000 people crammed in that day, it also is the European Cup final with the most amount of goals, with 10 in total. But yeah, let me just reel off what Hamden has also been used for. Yeah, the European Cup in 1960, as I just mentioned, the European Cup in 1976, the European Cup in 2002, Zidane's famous volley, of course, the Cup Winners' Cup in 62 and 66, the UEFA Cup final in 07, and it also played host to some Olympics matches in 2012. Next up, a stadium I've been to numerous times but have never been able to vlog at because of obvious reasons. Next up is London's Wembley Stadium. London has a population of around 9 million and you can fit about 90,000 people inside of Wembley. It's going to be about 25% full, again like most stadiums, subject to increase. The stadium has obviously been used for England games. It is England's home. It has also been used at Spurs' home when they were building their new stadium and moving out of White Hart Lane, and it also plays host to all the big cup finals in England, from the FA Cup at the top of the tree and the League Cup, all the way down to trophies like the FA Vase and the FA Trophy in the playoff finals. Wembley is used for a whole host of footballing greatness. Not only will it host Group D games, not only will it host last 16 games, but it is also the host for the semis and the final. Please, England, get to the final. That is the best chance we have of winning the tournament. If we can get to a final in front of our own fans at Wembley, then who knows? We did it in 66. Can we do it in 2021? It was originally only supposed to be used for the semis and the final of the Euros, but since Dublin pulled out, we were given more spaces for games in the earlier stages of the competition as well. Not just Dublin that pulled out, actually it was also Brussels as well. I think Dublin pulled out because of COVID, but Brussels pulled out because they weren't able to build their new stadium stadium in time. Getting through them now, next up is Munich with a population of 1.5 million. The Allianz Arena is one of Europe's most famous and grandest stadiums. It's somewhere I've never been personally, but I've always wanted to go, and it is on my stadium bucket list for sure. The capacity is about 70,000, and for the Euros there will be a minimum of 14,500 people at each match that is played there. The stadium is obviously used for Bayern Munich games, but is also used sometimes for Germany's national stadium. The Allianz Arena will host Group F games along with Budapest, and will also host one quarter-final as well. It hosted games for the 2006 World Cup. It was the final venue for the 2012 Champions League, which Chelsea won against Bayern Munich, of course. And it is also due to be used for the 2024 Euros, the next edition as well, which is set to be hosted in one country, Germany. 3 left to go. Next up is somewhere I've been before. I've been to the city before, never been to the stadium sadly, but it is the Stadio Olimpico in Rome. There is a population of around 2.8 million people in Rome, and within the Stadio Olimpico you can fit 73,000 people in normal times. There will be a 25% capacity for the matches that are played there, but again, with most stadiums it's subject to increase as the tournament progresses. It's a very historic stadium, and it's been used for Italy, Roma and Lazio games for years and years. It will be sharing Group A duties with Baku, and will also be hosting one quarter-final. It will also be hosting the opening game of the tournament, Turkey versus Italy, on the 11th of June. I think it's at 8 o'clock our time, and I cannot wait for that first match. It's been used for the European Cup of Champions League final 4 times in 77, 84, 96 and 09. It hosted the 1980 Euros final and the 1990 World Cup final. So yeah, the Stadio Olimpico in Rome has all the history that a stadium needs to be included in a big tournament like this. The penultimate stadium in the list, thank you for staying with me so far in this video. The next one up is in St. Petersburg in Russia. It is called the Krestovsky Stadium with a population of 5 million. This is one of the biggest cities to host a game at the Euros. The capacity of the stadium, which is used by Zenit St. Petersburg, is around 68,000 people, and it is due to have a 50% capacity for the matches that it hosts. This stadium is going to be used for 2 groups actually. It's going to be used for Group B, which is Russia's group, which is of course Russia, Finland, Denmark and Belgium, and Group E as well, which is Poland, Slovakia, Spain and Sweden. It will also host one quarter-final match as well. It was built for the Russian World Cup, where it hosted 7 matches, and one of the matches that it hosted was England's 3rd place playoff loss against Belgium. And next up, the final one out of the 11 is Seville. Now, Spain were supposed to host their games in Bilbao, but for some reason, safety concerns, I'm not sure how it wasn't allowed in Bilbao, but it was in Seville. There are some strange old things going on now in the world, as you know. But yeah, it has been moved from Bilbao to Seville. The population of the city is around 700,000 people, and the stadium has a capacity of about 60,000. However, it will only be 30% full for the Euros. It is sometimes used by Spain's national team, and it is also sometimes used by Sevilla and Betis if they're ever renovating their own stadiums. This isn't a stadium built for football, it was built for athletics, and it actually hosted the 1999 World Champions of Athletics, and it also actually did host the 2003 UEFA Cup final between Celtic and Porto. It will host Group E matches and one last 16 match at the tournament. Thank you so much for watching this video. There is so much Euros content coming up. I'm going to be chatting to fans. I'm hopefully going to be at fan parks, so I do have some fan park tickets. So yeah, it's not for the Scotland games, unfortunately. If you saw my Rangers and Celtic video, I do sum up my thoughts on the shocking shambles that was the Glasgow fan park here. I will have a lot of content coming up in the Euros. If you have any video suggestions for me, is there anything that you want to see, drop them in the comments below and I will make videos on them. I'll do the best I can. Yeah, I'm also going to be interviewing fans outside Hamden soon, so if you want to be a part of that, then keep an eye on my Instagram and my Twitter to see when I'll be going down there. Thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like button before I leave you. Subscribe if you aren't already so you don't miss out on more Euros content. I really hope England win it, but I also really hope that Scotland do well as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.